Okay, so I know this is kind of like a little late recording of this session. So I'm just gonna continue off where I started because I basically started at the, at a somewhat good time. So location, right? Absolute location. If you're gonna do your house around your house, right? That would be your street address, right? Because that tells you exactly where it's gonna be. Relative location. Remember, that's where you have to ask, or that's kind of where you're asking where a place is and a person is telling you the directions, right? So my example was, hey, I'm trying to find Schnucks in Urbana, like where is it at? Like, oh, it's gonna be right by the Starbucks, right? Or by that gas station, or by that one street, I forget what that street is, right? It's gonna be by this, it's by that, it's next to this, right? When you're kind of describing in that way, that is relative location. All right, so other stuff should be a little bit more simpler. Like for example, right, he kind of lives by an airport, right? So here you see movement because planes are moving back and forth, right? If you're by a train track, right, that would be movement. If you're next to I-74 or something like that, right, that highway, that would be movement as well. If you're by a truck station, like I don't know, where a bunch of trucks are driving around, something like that, where again you're seeing a lot of movement. But that was gonna be for material things. Non-material things, right? Remember, those are ideas, right? So that's something else that you can think about. Sorry, Toby, did you just come in? Or yeah, let me know whenever you guys have a question about anything. If I'm going too fast, what are you confused about, Toby? I want to make sure that we're all good, right? So kind of take your time, jot me down a message so I know exactly what I want, what I should go over. Right, my whole thing is that I don't want you guys to be lost about kind of what it is that we're doing. But just to clarify, the instructions are going to be all over here, what I want you to do. But the main point, I'm just being super detailed. The main point of it all is draw your area, draw around your house, draw around a park that you like to go to, or a spot that you and your friends like to go and hang out in. Okay, all you're doing is picking that one area, right? So example, like I say, if it's your house, draw around your house. Look at Google Maps. In the middle, these could be like little box. I mean, yes, this is due Sunday, and these boxes could mean, I don't know, any building that is around your area. It could be a major, kind of here where it says, right? He picked these boxes and said, okay, this is gonna be my theme of place, right? Because there are a lot of huge buildings around here. Now, what would that be, human place or physical place? Who can tell me that, right? If it's a bunch of buildings.
Ain't it physical?
Not physical, it's going to be human place. Remember, human, because anything that humans created, right? Think about it in that way, right? Anything that humans built or created, right, is going to be human place. So he picked the buildings around his house, right? One of those boxes is his house, right? This one right here, that's where he pointed at the location, right? So you can use whichever place you're going to focus on. For example, your house, right? Your house, you can use that as you can use that for the theme of location. Okay, location, more specifically, absolute location. So that's one theme, and then over here is another theme. For region, right? He said East Side Bloomington, right? So if you're in
So,
the, I'm sorry,
so
go
we
ahead.
if we draw in our house, we just draw like the areas around it.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
That's all you got to do, and then you connect it back to each theme of geography. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So like for region, if you live like all the way in the far east side of Urbana, right, or south or west, right? I mean, not west. Oh yeah, I guess. Or you live like by the U of I campus or by the high school campus. That would be your region. Okay. Human environment interaction, right? He mentioned this man-made like lake, right? Because we interacted with the environment in that way. But that's all pretty much you're doing, right? When it comes to drawing on the map, you're just drawing all of this out and labeling, right? Labeling each thing the way he did. and these are your descriptions, right? This is what he said, right? So he mentioned it like the buildings, you could say human place, but he specifically said, oh, here's a lot of Indian, there's a huge Indian population living around here. But again, this is Bloomington, I believe. So his, well, yeah, Bloomington. So his is going to be a little different. Oh, snap. Yeah, make sure we're not annotating. Words on the dotted line. Here, this? Oh, these are the streets. Right, these are the street names. All right, so I want you to also include street names. Okay, so again, that's all I'm really asking for. See how he was just very to the point, brief, right? Region, he lives in the East Bloomington, McLean County, right? So you can say, I live in Northern Urbana, Champaign County. Human environment interaction, right? We have a lot of cornfields as well, right? When it comes to interacting with the environment, farming is a part of it, right? There's lakes, buildings, roads, right? All of that was not created by nature, right? All of that was built by humans. Okay, place, again, he's picking that, oh, there's a huge cultural area around here as well. And location, right? He mentioned his, like I said, he mentioned his street address, right? Because that tells you absolutely where this location is at, right? So if you're gonna pick your house, right, you would have to include your street address, right? Don't worry, it's not. Don't worry, right? Don't feel like that's creepy. I already know your street address, anyways, right? Skyward. So that's one thing you could do. Or again, relative locations, be like, oh yeah, it's right by this house or right by this one other area. But essentially, that's all I'm asking you to do when it comes to you drawing a map, connecting it to the themes of geography, and detailing, providing those descriptions, like the exact same thing you did on the homework from last week. All right, everyone with me so far? Because this is pretty much the bulk of it, like 90%. Yeah, thumbs up or something. Yeah, cool. Great, great, great. Hey, Josiah. Okay. So people are dipping out and coming. I'm not cool with that. Remember, guys, if you guys decide to leave right in the middle of the session, I will mark you absent. Yes, Josiah.
I didn't do the homework because I was confused of what you meant by the 5 locations. But yeah, do now though from this example.
Okay, gotcha. You mean the 5 themes?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was confused about.
Oh, you got cut off there. Your audio got cut off. All right. Well, if you want to go ahead and finish your thought, yeah, at a later time, that'd be great. Okay. So yeah, that was about to get to Toby. So you could do either one. Okay, you could do whichever. So you can write it, draw out the map, right, and then draw it like on the backside or still using the same thing. Or you can use, right, you have a copy of this. Here's where you will describe your or each themes, right? So you're in the little box, right? You will go ahead and kind of just write those descriptions, right? Like we just saw in the example, right? And again, if you can't print it out, right, here's this graphing, this graph that you can use to like, really be accurate with your lines and your areas and such. You could print out the entire thing if you'd like, or you could just print out that section. Either way, I would still like, no matter if you type it out or you write it, right? I still want you guys to turn it in through Google Classroom, right? It should be simple, right? Especially if you draw it out, right? That's the one thing I wanted to say. So if you draw it out, you can like kind of like we showed the example, take a picture of it and then put it on a Google Doc, right? And then send it over to me, right? So just like this, right? Where he took a picture of it, posted it on Google Doc, and turned it in through Google Classroom. All right. Now, again, I did say that that was the bulk of it. Now, there is one more thing that I would like for you guys to do, because I need to be able to hear you guys, right? Because it sucks that I'm just not in the classroom, right, with you guys. I can't actually, you know, hear you guys explaining, interacting, all the stuff that I need to know in order to make sure that we are actually doing all good. Okay. Yeah, you can send it to Google Drive as well, right? And then attach that to, into Google Classroom, turn it in that way, and then you're set. You could do that as well, Lawrence. But kind of what I was saying is that in order for me to get that clarification that we're all good, right? Or even if we're like, even if you're being honest and you're like, Mr. Rodriguez, like I have no idea, like how to do any of this and stuff like that. Like I need to be able to hear that, right? So I know that, so I can like know and be able to help you and know how to help you. And that's why I want to include this Flipgrid requirement, okay? Where once you complete your map, you have all of your descriptions, right? Flipgrid will allow you, right? So if you click on this link, right? So it will take you here. You join with Google. Oh, snap. I got to change that, right? So for me, they wouldn't let me in because I'm using the teacher email, but it should work for you guys, right? Where it's like using the Urbana SD email. You guys will be able to go in and then you guys will see this discussion, right? The Urbana and Me. Yes, Messiah, that is an option. That is something you can do. Yep. So here, I want you guys to go ahead and record a response, right? So I'm here like, oh, what up? It's Mr. Rodriguez again. So you have 1 minute at most, right? Max. So I'm not expecting you to talk for a very long time. But I just want you to go over your map, right? It could just be you like this, right? So this could be you talking, and then I'm just, looking at my map. I'm like, okay, yeah, because I know what it looks like, right? I already have a copy. So you don't need to worry about me looking at it. I just need to be able to hear you describe each theme in your map, okay? Because I need that kind of confirmation so I know what we need to do next. So this is something that you can do with your phone as well, right? If you have a phone. Okay, yeah, these are all great questions, things to let me know, but I'm just letting you know this is something that is required as of this moment. Here, let me take this out. This kind of tripping me out. Tomorrow, what I want to do tomorrow is a Q&A day, right? I want you to kind of let me know of any problems, any issues that you may be having with this, especially with Flipgrid, and we'll address that tomorrow. I'll let you know. So for like I could tell you right now, like for Toby, right? This could be done. You can record yourself with your phone, right? Like a selfie video or whatever. And then it will still work, right? So it doesn't have to be through a computer camera. Where's that? Okay. So that's all I want you to do for Flipgrid. You can edit there in Flipgrid. It will give you like filters, edit it. You can edit things. I don't know. It's a very creative thing to do, but it's a good way for me to just see and hear you guys go over this information. Oh, did I include that on here? So that is actually one thing that I was thinking about, Toby, if that was going to be the case, is that if you cannot record yourself, or if you just really prefer not recording yourself, there is something you can do rather than providing a quick, little description of each theme. Um, I want you guys to write a much more detailed response, right? Like in paragraph form. Okay, where again, so if the issues with audio or whatever may be, right, whatever the situation may be that will prevent you from recording yourself or creating a functioning video of yourself, then what I would suggest you do is, instead of writing, quick responses like this, I would like for you to write a much more detailed and specific response, right? Almost like in a paragraph form, right? If I cannot hear you, I would like for you to show me then, right? Show me on paper, technically, right? On Google Doc, or on paper as well. If you want to write it out, you can do that. But my expectations will be slightly higher in terms of me looking for much more detailed description. Okay, does that make sense? How are we doing so far up to this point? So Lawrence, so let's just say that if you are going to be recording yourself, right, where I can hear you explain this information, then you can write it like that. Not double description. I wouldn't say double. It was just more like, for example, let's look at his movements example, right? So he would explain all the roads, right? What are all the streets around his area, and this area that he drew, right? So you probably mentioned like, okay, the airport road is over here in this direction. Towanda Barnes is up north. Empire Street is on the east side. Kind of being more detailed like that. The airplane, right? The airplane is coming from the I think it's like the Bloomington Airport, right? That is on Empire Street, right? So it's just taking this exact same stuff and then just making sentences out of it. Boats, like like I don't know where he sees boats, right? So you could tell me more explanations about that, like where do you see these boats, like where are they coming from, the region, East Bloom. I guess for certain things they would probably be to the point, like for example region and location, but like for place, human environment interaction, movement, you guys can be a little bit more detailed, right? So it's not that you need to include a lot of things. You can include a few amount of things, like again, these 3 things for movement, right? You can still stick with those 3 things, but you would just have to be a little bit more descriptive. Okay, like again, what's the airport called? Where do you see these boats? All these roads lead where? Like that kind of stuff. Does that make sense? That's what I'm saying. Like for location, you wouldn't. That's why I said like movement, human, like 1, 3, and 4, right? These 3 themes, you would have to be more specific. But like for region and location, especially like location, that one you may not have to be as specific. Again, you're already being specific as it is by including your street address. But one extra thing you can do is like also mention the relative location, right? You could say, okay, here's my street address. My house is literally right next to a McDonald's. It's right across the street from my grandma's house. Like the library is right behind me, right? That would be relative location, right? Just your street address is your absolute location, right? I just want to remind everybody that each theme has like 2 different forms of each theme, right? Like location has absolute relative, place as physical human place. Even human interaction, right? They have the human adaptations, and then there's the changes made by humans, and so on and so forth. So there is a lot of stuff that you can mention. Again, this is only for people or for anybody who has issues with recording a Flipgrid and such like that, right? That you would have to be more detailed, right? There is a lot of stuff you can still mention, right? Here it gives you a lot of stuff that you can talk about. But if you are going to be recording yourself, or if you do have that ability, nice short, right? Short responses like this will be okay, but I would have to hear the specifics of it all through your recording. So remember, you have until Sunday. You have until Sunday since we lost yesterday. And this is like the only day that I can like really explain this with you guys. So tomorrow will be a Q&A day. All right. So look over this information, right? Just take a gander at it. You can begin today. It is due Sunday. So take a gander at it, look at it, and then we'll have a Q&A day tomorrow, right? I'll go over more information with you guys if I need to. And then I will not see you guys until next Monday. So like in 6 days. So you have plenty of time. Okay. Whoa. Okay, so I'm going to stop recording now.